In the ever busy city of Lagos State, Nigeria. Hello there and welcome to Issues in the News on Voice of the People 90.3. My name is Esther Wachuku and it is precisely 10:34 a.m. and we're right in the studio to talk about the issues in the polity. Remember, when we always come on this program, we say that it is important for us to continue to emphasize, continue to buttress that these issues need to be resolved. We will no longer have persons come and tell us we will do, and then when they get there, they don't do. We already know the issues on ground. We already know the areas where there are porosities. There is a deep vacuum, but we need people, persons, someone who understands the strategy to what? To fix the hole. Lagos State is large. The population here is massive. And because of the commercial access that is in this state, it is also vital that a lot of persons try to migrate down here because they believe there are opportunities, there is access, there is industrialization, but then there is lack. There is lack to access to basic things that are needed to what? To help us enjoy the state, to help investors enjoy themselves when they come here, to help opportunities grow and bloom. And we still have issues and people who do not find themselves feeling comfortable whenever they need to go about their activities. So these issues will always talk about it all across the country here on Voice of the People 90.3. My name is Esther Umachuku and today I am not alone. But first off, the conversation we want to have is concerning how we can fix the hole. Yeah, the hole meaning WHOLE. So, when something is whole, it means it is complete, isn't it? So, what is the essence of fixing a hole? When something is whole, there's no need to fix anything. But that is the image you can give a state like Lagos, a country like Nigeria, that seems to have everything they require to succeed, everything they require to progress. But somehow there are endemic issues. There is a death, there is a lack. And that is basically what we need to fix. That is basically how we need to bridge these issues. We already know them, but this time around, we want to see and know persons that are capable of strategically putting things in place. And I told you that I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me he's a handsome gentleman. Okay. He's a strong person. He's somebody who understands the importance of governance, who understands that governance is not about personality, it's about serving, it's about the people. So I have with me in the studio Akin Braithwaite. All right. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, Esther.
How are you
Thanks for
this
having me.
morning?
Super fine. Thank you.
You look good. You
Wonderful
sound
studio
super
here.
fine. Thank you
have
very
a
much.
wonderful studio.
Thank you very much. Akinwunmi Braithwaite is the governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement.
That's right.
And he's here to tell us what are the ways through which we can fix this hole, especially in Lagos State. How do we fix the hole? But before we go in there, I need to buttress a little bit about his person, just a little bit of his profile, so we understand where we're coming from. We understand why there is a need to rescue. We understand why there is a movement in place and why it is necessary for a movement to rescue the whole. All right. So he's a co-founder of Kasuku Communications Limited. It's a cloud telecommunications provider driving digital transformation in the telecom space. So I would say that he's a very young man. He understands. He's in the now. All right. He's actually in the now. He's a strategic consummate change management expert with a multi-dimensional career spanning over 30 years in various sectors, which includes insurance, academia. Well, if you hear his voice, you will know definitely that he's in that category. Information technology, telecommunications, and agriculture. And of course, the last 18 years has been spent in top management positions in the telecoms industry, where he has served first as chief customer care executive in Econet Wireless and later as regional general manager in Celtel, now Airtel. I don't know if any one of us can recall when Airtel, first of all, established its presence right here in Nigeria. Then it was called Econet. I don't know if the people now can remember. Possibly you were still very young, but then that was the birth of Airtel. They've had several names. So that tells you how long he has actually been in the telecommunications industry. All right. So he holds a double major BA degree in English language and biblical studies from Covenant College, USA. He's an alumnus of London Business School, Corporate Finance Executive Program, Nottingham University, Insurance and Risk Management, Lagos Business School Project Management, Wits Business School Executive Management Development Program, and of course, you can hear the accomplishments, the positions he has attained, and of course, the kind of developmental strides I had to embark on to be in charge of. So, Mr. Akinwunmi Braithwaite, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
The first
Thank
question
you.
I want to ask you is, what is the drive for being in the national rescue movement?
It's as you said, it's really simply that, you wake up every day and you say, what's my motivation? And the fact that Lagos is suffering from a massive exodus of professionals. Every other day you hear some other company has lost professionals. They're leaving for Canada, they're leaving for the UK, USA. And you just have to stop and think that this is what we call the brain drain. And it's called the brain drain for a reason. If the best people start to leave the shores, then you're going to be in serious trouble because it's over a 5-year period. And if that continues to happen without any let up, you are going to be really, really seriously in a state of enemy. Because what then happens is that they're leaving from all sectors of the society, of the economy.
Sure.
From medicine to IT to every other imaginable sector you can think of. Now, that's not good for a society, especially one that wants to compete in the world where in the global economy, you have to not only retain your best, but you actually have to attract certainly more people in. So the more you look at this and you say, right, we're going into an election season. Fortunately, we're dealing in a democracy. And the democracy gives you an opportunity to bring about change.
Sure.
That's the benefit and the beauty of democracy, to say, am I pleased with the state of play? Now, if you're not, then you have to do something about it. There are two ways of bringing about change in a society. You can either do it through a bloody revolution or you do it through the ballot. So I've chosen that we are in a civilized environment, and I've chosen to be part of those who want to bring about certain change. And as it relates to Lagos specifically, I think that there is a lot to be desired. I'd say, we'll have to kind of thank the present government for what they've done to date. I think they've tried. They've done the best that they can. But in every organization, you have what you call a review, a peer review, whatever kind of review. And if at the end of that assessment, it's scored below what you think it should be, then you say, well, look, we need another team to kind of take it to another level. So we're talking about really the essence of we need to get this on another level. I think that when you think of Lagos today, and you can imagine when you're comparing, some people say, oh, look, don't compare. But you have to compare. If you want to be the best, then you have to compare yourself with the best. You have to say, okay, who is better than I am in doing this? I need to beat them. Otherwise, you're not going to get very far. So Lagos today doesn't have a working train system. And for a city that is, of course, we have the largest economy in Africa. For us not to even have trains, moving up and down and through the city, I think it leaves quite a lot to be desired. It's a very, very filthy state. There's a lot of disorder. When you go on the streets of Lagos today, it's just like bedlam everywhere, There's a lot of people sleeping underneath the bridges, shanty towns, cropping up everywhere. So many people out of employment, and the opportunities, yes, should be there. So there's a lot. There's no water system coming out of homes. Very, very few homes have running drinkable water coming out of the tap. Even in places like Ikoyi, people are buying water. You don't have 24/7 electricity.
Sure.
One can go on and on and on. I think in the introduction you mentioned that we're all aware of the issues.
Exactly.
The issue now is who is going to fix it.
Fix it.
And it's a question of priority.
Yes.
Where's the priority? So I think that we have a different set of priorities that myself and a sharp team of sharpshooters, will bring into play.
All right. So there is a situation now on ground. I understand that when it comes to the stratification of governance, there are three tiers. We have the executive, the state, the local government, including the judiciary. But the people who are closest, or the sector of the government that are closest to people, are the local government. And somehow it feels like we do not have local governments, properly putting things in place. So there is this problem. The problem is this: most times when there are issues, people need to lay complaints. The first thing they do is oh, we need to focus on the state. We need to talk to the governor. Something needs to be done. Meanwhile, the local government is there to handle pressing community issues, grassroots issues that has to deal with infrastructure within the community, access to good water, healthcare system, education. These things are meant to be taken care of by the local government. Then when it comes to the state level, of course, we know that they have more cumbersome responsibility. Why do we have a debt in the local government system?
Well, the local government system has been defanged. And, it's kind of like an irony, and it's a bit of a hypocrisy. You have people shouting about restructuring, okay? So restructuring, as far as they are concerned, is, you want to have the states having their autonomy, etc., etc. You have the exclusive list and the concurrent. Yet the same states don't want to give autonomy to the local government. And so the local government system has been strangulated. In order for you to have real progress and development, you need to devolve the power and ensure that your local government is effective. The development that we need in a place like Lagos has to take place at local government level. So I'm definitely one of the advocates to say, you know what? Unleash local government. Let local government do what it's been set up to do, which is to take care of certain things. The framers of the Constitution, as defective as we may say it is, still did some cut and paste, which is they took things that are normally standard things, standard procedures, and they put it in there. So in the Constitution, there is a role that the local government plays. All the primary schools are meant to be taken care of by local government.
That's true.
Now, if you see a primary school, near you in your neighborhood that is defective and deficient of various things, you really should be calling the attention of the local government to deal with those issues. The roads that run right up to your door, to the front of your house, that's within the purview of the local government. You need to be calling your councillor and stuff to say, hey, look, fix this road. I don't care. You must get this road fixed, because in effect, they actually get their own share of FAC.
Let me even quote you there. It's actually quite unfortunate that some persons, that is some residents within these local governments, do not even know who their councillors are. They're not aware of who they may know the local government chairman, possibly because of when it comes to paying for water, electricity. So you need to know the name of the local government chairman, in that local government. Persons don't even know that they have constituent representatives. They don't even know that they have councillors that they can actually talk to, who can help them drive, you understand, whatever it is they're clamoring for. Why do we have that lack of knowledge?
Well, I'm ashamed to confess to you that even I don't know the name of my councillor. And I would struggle to tell you the name of my local government chairman. That's the extent to which we've been dumbed down, and it's always been about the president and the state governor and so forth. So the attention has been deflected away from where really it should be. But since getting involved in politics, I have actually started to educate myself, and those around me to say, hey, look, listen, the business of governance starts at the local
Level.
right? And it is, yes, very, very basic. We need to find out who our representative is. Whether or not I voted for you as the council or as a chairman, you're still the guy who is responsible for fixing this mess. So we definitely need to start orientating people. And I'm glad that programs like this, are an opportunity to do so, to get people to understand, first and foremost, primary responsibility for dealing with everything that is within your vicinity, whether it be where you work or where you're living, is your local government. And you have to call them to account because they're actually collecting monies from the pot, from the general pot,
Yes,
to take care of those things.
it's true.
And if they're not doing it, where's the money going? So we need to hold them to account. And no local government chairman is immune from prosecution.
True.
So if the money isn't being spent right, then they need to tell us exactly what happened to the budget, because they have annual budgets,
True.
okay, for doing all of these things. So it is their responsibility, and we, the citizens, needs to make it happen.
All right, so let's come to education in Lagos State, especially. The reason why it seems Lagos State is where we're talking about today is because it's one of the thriving cities in the Federation. The influx of commercial activities here is huge. Investments too, the same thing. International organizations like to have their establishments situated here, and of course, Abuja being the capital city, for Lagos, for Nigeria. But let's talk about the fact that there are sectors that ought to be thriving that are not. So you look at some public primary schools and secondary schools. The last governor, Babatunde Raji Fashola, did some modification in some state government secondary schools. I would say that was quite a good deal that he did. Refurbish some of the secondary schools, make sure that infrastructures were properly put in place. But since then, we've not seen some more effort in making sure that all the public schools have that kind of edifice. So let's look at some primary schools within some local governments. They lack basic facilities to create that conducive learning environment for children. Sometimes they do not even have proper restrooms where these children can go ease themselves, even the teachers. And this discourages the teachers from teaching the students. You also have a lack of teacher to students. You have more students than the teachers who teach. Most times these children go to school and just loiter around, play around. There's nobody to monitor. There's nobody to tell them, why are you outside? Why are you not in the classroom? You now enter the classroom, you see that there are no chairs, no furnitures. Sometimes the children literally just use some make-do stool just so that they can concentrate on what the teacher is saying. So when we have these children not properly educated, we now say the system is bad or the system created that scenario. How do we deal with this?
I really feel you, Esther. And I have had personal experiences myself. I've been to many schools in all the local education authority areas. I actually led a financial literacy program, which was targeted at primary school kids. And I personally led interventions. And what I saw horrified me when you describe the infrastructure, as it were. I've been in schools where the kids are using bricks to sit, where they have broken planks that they're trying to use as desks. In fact, in one particular school, the children were having to empty water out of the classroom, after
Because it
a terrible
rained
rain.
and got flooded.
Absolutely. And of course, the toilets were just, not for human use. There's schools where I've been and I've actually wept, really, because you just say, how do we do this to ourselves? And why is it that we don't really care? So there's a lot of window dressing, and they'll show you some ideal places, and you think, oh, this is what it is. But when you really, really go all out, and you're going to visit very, very many, then you see the reality. In terms of, even there were instances where getting down to the actual teachers, some I just think they're there to just tick the numbers. There's some game that was going on, and where even basic addition, some of these teachers couldn't, manage it. So there is definitely a problem, and I would say that it's a problem right to crisis level. There are over 2 million out-of-school children in Lagos State alone. In the whole federation, I think there are like over 15 million, but Lagos has 2 million, plus out of school. If that is not a disaster and a crisis, I don't know what is. But the greatest sadness about it all is that it's a question of attitude and priorities. And this is why I say, look, the government has tried, but really, when it comes down to priorities, what are the priorities? I look at education from a philosophical standpoint. If we are to compete in the world, in the global economy, in the global state, we're competing in a world where in some countries, 5-year-olds are now being taught how to code. Okay, and our children are going into spaces where they can hardly, sit and concentrate. And if we don't think that we're damaging ourselves, because at the end of the day, if you're not taking care of education, then you're not caring about your future. Because I certainly am not the guy who's going to handle things 20 years from now. So it's the kids that are in school that we're going to rely on to be able to do all the. In this studio, you've got your technicians, you've got skilled guys and whatever. Sure. So if you're not training them from here on, what's the studio of 20 years from now going to look like? Who's going to be handling, the various technical things, right? Yeah. Now, it could be that they're going to be handled by robots, which is also another thing that's going on, AI and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on that, driverless cars and whatever, okay? So if you're going into a world where there are amazing things happening and all you're doing with your human capital is just allowing them to languish. So even the kids in school are coming out half-baked.
True.
So we have a crisis on our hands. So we are going to have to take a couple of steps back, and we really don't have much time. We have to hit the ground running. It's an emergency. We have to deploy now. There are things that can be deployed now where you don't need to rely on human teachers.
True.
Okay. So whilst you retrain the human teachers, you deploy these sort of wonderful interventions that can be done using AI techniques, that can be done using, remote things. Even our children can benefit from remote learning by some of the best education teachers and facilitators.
In regards to that, considering the population in the States, considering access to these facilities you talked about, it would take time. But the question is, if you...
No. I'm talking about facilities that will be delivered through what everybody's holding, the phone, for example. Yeah, you don't really need infrastructure, right? We'll use what exists already. In fact, I'll tell you, the people that I'm speaking to have already done, a successful experiment during COVID. They were able to train 8 million children across Nigeria using this. Absolutely. Feature phones, not even your sophisticated smartphones. Yeah.
Just easy phones to use.
Easy, SMS, whatever. And it helps. It's called adaptive learning.
Amazing. Adaptive
personal learning. It adapts to each child's level of education. Now, the interesting thing, and I just want to add this before I forget. Sorry, Esther. In a population such as ours, right? We've got such a large population. There's every likelihood that you have geniuses in the larger your population is, okay? Yes. The larger the propensity that you will have a large supply of geniuses. Those geniuses lie in some of those children that are out of school or that are not being carefully taught.
All right, so let's come to road infrastructure, traffic, because again, I'll reiterate this, it's a very populated state, and that's why it's considered a mega city.
It's
But
actually a hyper city now,
a hyper
no longer mega. Yeah.
exactly. That means it's now more than Lagos is actually it represents a particular country somewhere else. Now the thing is, how do we deal with this situation where people can navigate to go to whatever destinations they want to get to without suffering? I don't know if you've ever been stuck in traffic for 8 hours, 10 hours. It's your vehicle and you're literally tired. Possibly your destination is not so far. So maybe just because of either a small rain or an articulated vehicle somewhere broke down, it's almost like the entire state, all the linked roads get affected by that. How would you resolve this?
Okay, Esther. You know, we ask ourselves, what's the purpose of government? The purpose of government is to make its people happy. Okay, it's for the welfare and the security of its people. It's encapsulated in our constitution. Okay, so it's a question of priority and it's a question of mindset. It's a question of the human element of why on earth do we exist, right? We're not humane to ourselves. Something has happened to us and we're all suffering from this mass trauma, okay? And as you said, you can imagine the psychological effect on all of us Lagosians of what we're going through every day. It's almost like you're jumping into hell, when you leave your home, okay? First, you've dealt with the issue of no light, no electricity, blah, blah, blah. You navigated all that kind of stuff, no water. Then you're suddenly now going to face one of the biggest tests, how to navigate your way from A to B. And the stress of all that. There's some awful things that are so simple, what we call low-hanging fruit. First of all, the crazy guys who are driving those public transport things, all right, okay? The havoc that they cause on the streets alone, the lack of law and order, right? And the way the authorities look away, right, at the misbehavior of these miscreants, right, behind wheels. Definitely they need to be sorted, all right? So we will have to deal with them, all right? Because sometimes you see them triple parked on a road where, you've got the road, it's been laid out.
Exactly.
And these guys will park triple.
On one lane.
Forcing the road into
Make it very small.
one lane, yeah. Okay? So that itself is an unnecessary havoc, and that creates unnecessary buildup of traffic, okay? So that's one major one. On some roads, you find these guys going against traffic, okay? And again, the authorities are colluding and whatever, and if they just hand out some money and that's it. So there's got to be a reorientation of the guys who are even put in charge. They also are not being paid properly because this thing is a chain reaction, all right? From one thing, it leads to another. You have to pay the guys who are expected to enforce law and order. But to go on the streets, you've got to pay them well. The remuneration needs to be rechecked. They must be able to have pay that takes them home, okay? Because if you don't do that, then you're effectively creating the enabling environment for them to do whatever they need to do to survive. So we've got to take our agencies out of survival mode, because it's almost like when they wake up, what they're thinking of is, I've got to go and survive on the street. So you'll see, if you take note, you'll see that sometimes when you're driving, you see some people on the streets just going over to these public transport guys and snatching money out of their hands, okay? Daylight robbery. And these guys that's totally unlawful, okay? So there's a kind of mafia thing that's kind of going on, layers.
Let me even ask you a question about that. So these commercial vehicles, right, especially the yellow and black ones, so they have parks across several axes along in Lagos State. And each park, they have a union. They have union representatives, union members who speak for them. They make quarterly contributions based on the fact that when they go out to work, whatever it is they make, they have their quarterly contributions. And the idea for these union representatives is, we do know that there are many. The state government may not be able to monitor what they do, So the idea is, okay, since you are closer to these people, you understand what they're going through. It is also within your purview to educate and orientate them. So if we are not there to supervise, you as union members, you ought to put laws in place to ensure that we have a sane city. What is happening whereby that sector, that segment where there's close contact between these drivers and the conductors and their union representatives, it seems like there's no stipulated law and policy to create a sense of sanity in their activities within the state.
Yeah, because it's just a racket. That's all. It's a racketeering. It's in its most obvious format. It's not built to enforce the laws. I mean, we have enough laws, created. It's kind of like the enforcement of the laws. Now, in another state recently, the authorities actually banned these guys, okay, and said, hey, look, this is within the purview of the authorities. Now, the parks and this kind of stuff, you're actually, again, this is another aspect that should be within the purview of the local government area. So the local government enforces its extant laws, which relate to what's going on within its own boundaries. Okay. Another issue is, so those guys are going to have to find some other job. We'll have to retrain them,
Yes.
effectively, because there's nothing else that they're doing. Just constituting nuisances and then gathering money that the state really, if there's any taxation and all that, that money should be going to the state. So there's a massive number of billions that these guys are walking away,
just to themselves,
that the state could put to better use. All right. Now, you also have the lack of maintenance, road maintenance.
Sure.
The bulk of roads, inner roads, belong to the local government. Local government is not managing those roads. So between your house and getting to the actual state road, that's another calamity that you have to go through. You go through so many potholes, particularly when it's rainy season. And it's as if we didn't know that the rains are going to come. So we wait until, the rains come, and then we make some lame effort, to try and fix these roads. That has to stop, okay? There has to be regular scheduled maintenances. If there's a crack, look, there's a team, they have to move in before the thing becomes a gorge.
Sure.
There's also the fact that on all of these roads, that you talk about, okay, who's really meant to be the ones handling it and all this kind of stuff. And we do not have the roads. There's a master plan for Lagos.
True.
And I believe that master plan might even have expired by now. It's a 20-year master plan. And of that master plan, I bet that there's probably just maybe 20% of that master plan that's being fulfilled. In that master plan, there are meant to be other roads that are meant to be made. There's even meant to be another bridge, which they call the Fourth Mainland Bridge. Where is it, for goodness sake? Where are the other roads? They're meant to be some external road. You hear about all of these things, but where are they? Where's the money that's been put in the budget for these things?
All right, Mr. Akinwunmi Braithwaite, there is a lot to talk about in this whole that we're talking about today. There is a lot. We have unemployment, we have insecurity, we have food, we have water. There are several segments that need fixing in this big hole of Nigeria, Lagos inclusive. But I know that we're already getting calls and they want to be part of the conversation. They want to ask questions because right now, like I rightly introduced, people already know the endemic issues. We just want persons that know what to do, that as soon as they take over, they begin to implement the areas when changes need to be done as soon as possible. Not, let's wait. Let's take some time. We're trying to put some platforms in place. People will need to see immediate change from the body language, from the activities. They need to see that, okay, this time around, something is taking place. There's a movement to rescue whatever is already broken. That's basically what needs to be seen or needs to be felt. All right, currently you're listening to Issues in the News on Voice of the People 90.3, and we have Akinwunmi Braithwaite, the governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement, and he's been talking about all the sectors that needs to be fixed, especially in Lagos State, and how we can work together in achieving a safe Lagos, a Lagos that is easily commercialized, a Lagos that persons will be comfortable to come and invest, go about their businesses, feel safe to go about their businesses. So you can virtually be part of the conversation this morning. You just go to www.voiceofthepeople.ng. We're streaming live anywhere in the world. You can watch us right now and be part of the conversation this morning. You can also call us on 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Your name and location, please.
My name is Bethel. I'm calling
Bethel.
from Yes.
You're calling from where?
Lagos.
Ikoton. Okay. Bethel, please go ahead.
Yeah. Nice discussion. I've been listening.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nigeria, Lagos, a lot of challenges. But I can tell you this greater part of challenges we're having in this country emanate from North. The reason being the way our elite in the North handle the situation there. The situation, they make it very difficult for the masses there or generality of their children not to go to school, thereby creating what do I call it, a lot of indiscipline, illiteracy, terrorism. I remember very well, Jonathan created a kind of school for them. They make sure that those children, they never went to that school. Is it not how many years ago now? The child that was in secondary school that time would have entered university. The one in primary would have entered secondary. And knowledge would have, been a mass. So what they do, they use them to do elections. After elections, they allow them room around and they come to South. They commit nuisance. You see, it's causing problems all around. You see, the people in the National Assembly, it's not that they don't know what they say. They know it, but they're only after making their own money, that's all. Until Nigeria design in a way that things will work in this country, we will always find it difficult. Things will be very, very difficult. You know very well, it is not like that in the South, or say West, East, or South. Not like that. Everybody there knows that it's owners. Like you are talking of a local government. Okay, take for example now, in Kano, they have a 40 local government. And those 40 local governments, they receive allocation. The people in charge, they carry the money, they share it. I tell you, most of their people don't even know they receive those amounts. You see, they just make it in a way that people are not carried along. Why I say that it's not like that in the South. People work, people try to follow up and know what is happening. That's why you find out that the poverty is not that extent in the South. The North are the majority of the problem. A lot of them are in the bushes. In my village, there's a big bush here. They are there, the forest.
Bethel, where's the village?
Raping people.
Where's your village?
Not that kind of thing.
Bethel, where's your
So
village?
we come and address this issue the way Nigeria should go about in a civilized way. If not, we'll find it difficult.
All right,
go
Bethel.
to America, London, all these areas to see how things are done.
All right, Bethel, thank you for calling on the program. All right? Thank you for calling. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. Bethel is of the opinion that the reason we're having these issues in the state is because we're having large number of persons coming from the north. And he's saying that that could be one of the reasons why we're having these issues in Lagos State. I don't know about that, but you explain that later. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Your name, please, and where are you calling from? Hello? All right, 0700 903 903 903. Please, when you call, turn down the volume of your radio or if you're somewhere that you know the ambience will obstruct you when you call, try to get somewhere a little bit quiet so we can hear what you want to say. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. We're discussing on fixing the hole on issues in the news today, and I have with me Akinwunmi Braithwaite. He is a governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement, and we're talking about all the sectors within the state, even in the country, and how we can deal with issues, endemic issues, bedeviling the nation, bedeviling the state. We've already talked about the fact that we have a lot of these issues in place. The whole seems to be complete. It seems like we have things moving, going on properly here, but there are a lot of issues, a lot of cracks in the whole. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
My name is Victor. I'm calling from Yanoba.
Victor from Yanoba. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Please, this is my first time of calling a radio program. Because
Welcome.
I believe what we are saying on phone, I don't think government is hearing it. I don't want to say something. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You see, this doubt, they are really disturbing us, truly. They are disturbing us. This doubt, as you come to my two, opposite like Asera, from my two to Oshodi, it's 500 naira. Those touts, they will raise 5 finger up to these small bosses. Once they raise 5 finger up, that is 500 naira. LT, they will raise 4 fingers, that is 400. Costa, they will raise 3 fingers up, that is 300 naira from my two to Oshodi, opposite like Asera. And if you are going to from my two to Tinker,
Hello?
used to be.
Okay.
Yeah, you hearing me?
I can hear you now.
From my two to Upper Wharf, those doubts even staff police in my presence. Police don't used to talk. Police to keep their mouth shut. They are the one controlling those roads. Those doubts. There's that policeman in my presence for that thinker. They are giving us problems. That's why transportation is very expensive for us. Once they raise 5 in my two show, they will raise 5 fingers up to those small buses. That is 500 naira. LT, they will raise 4 fingers up. That is 400. Costa, they will raise 3 fingers up. That is 300 naira. To my two. See, there are 6 big knocking glasses everywhere. There's that policeman in my presence. I saw it. Policeman. They cannot talk. They're the one controlling this Lagos. Every corner. Okokoye is the same thing. Now, from 8 o'clock to Okoko, to my two, is 700 naira. They're giving us problem. Two staff are giving us big problem. If you ask them, they will say it's soldier man that put them there. Soldier man from Post Rainbow to enter Coca. If you want to branch with your car, it's 500 naira. With their sticks, they'll say it's soldier man that put them there. And all these big men, they're soldiers, they're passing their doors to talk. They will not talk. They will not say anything. It's very bad. They're giving us problems. That's why we are afraid if Turubu will enter, we that usually left to be walking along the road, will be paying tax too. Those are giving us problems. Big problems. They need to find a way to cancel it. In abroad, there is no Agboro in abroad. Any else go if there's Agboro in abroad. Is there tax in abroad? I want to look like abroad. I want Nigeria to look like abroad. Is there tax in abroad? Is there tax? Is there Agboro in abroad? Those are people that are giving us problems. People that are selling fuel, 300 naira per liter, no problem. But those are good. Let them cancel them. All your money. Agboro is building house in close to my house. Where I'm building my house. Agboro is building house there. A big house. Agboro, a boy that is taking money from those people. He's building a big house in the Agbara. He's building a big house in Agbara. He's building a big house there. I do Agboro. Is there Agboro in abroad? Is there tax in abroad? They're giving us problems. They should find a way to cancel them.
Thank you for calling.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I can feel. You can feel how he feels. I can hear it in his voice. He's really pained. 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Pastor Louis calling from Okoko.
Pastor Louis, welcome to the program. Please go ahead.
We are talking about the road construction and all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
One of the major problems that we are facing is not that the government is not allocating money to the local government to do the road. But the problem is when they allocate the money, they don't monitor the money. They don't monitor where the money is going. If they give you a contract, the person that gives you contract have to monitor the contract, whether the contract is going on or not. So that is the reason why the more they give them money for allocation for something, they eat the more because nobody is monitoring them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for calling on the program. 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. You can also send us WhatsApp messages on 0700 903 9039 and we get to read it right on the program. So you can hear most of the callers have been able to express some of these issues. You already talked about it. Somebody called to say that some of these migrants who constitute a nuisance on the road actually take advantage of the leverage given to them to just constitute mayhem, make money from it, and establish themselves. This is basically what this caller just said. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Emmanuel Lucha. I've been listening to the conversation.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Welcome to the program.
I want to say a very big thank you to you, the presenter, and our guest on the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last man that made the last presentation about non-monitoring. The issue of non-monitoring is intentional because we all have projects, even in our individual places. You are building a house, you have a contractor, you keep giving out money, and you don't know how the business, the project is being executed. It's not natural. It's not done. The only way you can give out money and this money is not being monitored is because you have other intentions. Let's just face the facts. If I'm there as the chairman and I have a road project that is budgeted, I know the budget, I know the bill of quantities, I know the components of that project. At the end of the day, I pass there, I know it's done or I know it's not done. Because at the end of the day, people put up their testaments to the people. I mean, the politicians, they put up their testaments to the people. So my own take there is until we get it right, where we know that we are accountable to the people, we do things rightly, there is no way we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good morning. Turn down the volume of your radio, please.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Turn down the volume of your radio. Thank you. Go ahead. Hello. 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call to be part of the conversation this morning on Issues in the News. I have with me the governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement, Akinwunmi Braithwaite, and he had already talked to us on how some of these issues can, at least we can start off strategically resolving them as soon as possible. You know, now that we're looking forward to have a better future for Nigeria, for Lagos State. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and location, please.
My name is Sabina.
Sabina.
I call Lagos.
All right, Sabina, go ahead. All right, Sabina, do call us back, 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and location?
Yeah, this is John Legend calling from Moshi.
John Legend, what a name. John Legend, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, John Legend, please do call back. We lost that connection. 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Name and location, please.
Yeah, this is Obi Shoes from Ikoto.
Obi Chooks from Ikoton. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Just a question I have for the governorship candidate.
Okay.
A question.
All right.
The thousands of Agboros in Lagos, what did he get to do with them?
Okay.
That's
All
the
right.
question I have for you.
Thank you. Mr. Braithwaite, please respond to that question.
Okay. You know, when I was listening to what the complaints were, the thought that occurred to me was, I wish I was in the seat right now. And there's stuff that I would definitely get done. Um, one important thing that I must say to us all is that we are not as powerless as we think.
Okay.
And the beauty of democracy, like I started out by saying, is that all of us can do something about what we do not like. You have expressed what you don't like, and you have the opportunity with democracy to vote them out.
Okay.
Okay? That it's so important that you must vote them out. We have to take the guys who are being used. They are guys who the system has let down. These guys are human beings. And what's going on is that they're just being used to funnel money up the chain. That's all that's going on. And there's nothing else that they know to do. You know, that's all they've been orientated for since maybe when they were 10 years old and whatever. They're out of the system. So we have to look at them. And a lot of them too, as someone was saying to me recently, is that in Nigeria, and specifically in Lagos, we are all suffering. The vast majority of us are suffering from some psychological issues.
Sure.
Because when you look at the way people behave, you know, in Lagos, you just say to yourself, is this person mad? Is this person crazy? And in fact, they could well be, because of the conditions. They have been conditioned to behave and misbehave in a particular way. So some people have to be actually psychologically evaluated and to a large extent need some care, need intervention. Some are on drugs, they are addicted to drugs, they need that intervention.
All right, let's take this last call so we can wrap up on the program. Hello, good morning. Hello. Good morning. We can't hear you. Okay. All right, we need to take one call and wrap up. It's quite unfortunate how time just flies. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. We take one call and wrap up on the program. Like I said earlier, we are virtually. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Name and location, please.
Say what?
Name and location, please. Hello?
Dayo.
Kindly turn down the volume of your radio. That's why you can't hear me well.
It's turned down.
I can hear myself.
I don't have radio here. It's
All
my
right.
phone.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, from Ikotu Agri.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. The issue I want to talk about is the issue of these agri rules. You understand? They are actually a burden to the Gaussians. You understand? And my reason for saying that is on the issue of, transportation.
Okay.
You understand? At some point, is this price, and at some other point, is another price. You understand? And of which is not really good. You understand? And as a matter of fact, the government of the day actually brought them. You understand? How do I put it? As in they brought them to be. You understand? And that's why we're facing this issue. You understand? So I don't really know how the government intends to go about the challenge.
Okay.
You understand? Because it's really a challenge.
Oh, we lost that connection. All right, that's our final call on the program today. Like I was saying earlier, that you can actually watch us live anytime, anywhere in the world, 24 hours on www.voiceofthepeople.ng. You can also channel most of your recommendations, complaints, what you expect, what you need, and how you think things can be fixed, especially in Lagos State. You can just go to Twitter at Braithwaite, all right, AkinBraithwaite, Akin Braithwaite. And then, of course, on Instagram at Akin Braithwaite World. I got that right, sir? I did get that right.
You did.
AkinBraithwaite World on Instagram at Akin Braithwaite World, and on Twitter Akin Braithwaite. That is the social media handle you can follow to channel your complaints, give your recommendations, criticize, and who knows, possibly while the campaigns begin, while the elections come on, we can choose right. We can go the right way. We can fix and rescue the whole. Anything you have to say, so we round up.
Yes, Esther, I think that we need to keep telling our people we all own Lagos together. It is all our joint responsibility to make sure it's the Lagos that we think is habitable for human beings.
Sure.
And the way to do that is that by 2023, we have an opportunity to vote out those who have let us down. And I think everybody now has an opportunity to go and scrutinize, to go and check the credentials of those who are presenting themselves. And please make that choice very, very wisely. I'm putting myself out there because I do believe that a lot of these problems, I will get them solved with a super team in just a matter of months, because the number of these things are just a question of priority. Where you place the priority, it will be our priority to make Lagosians happy. So we look forward to people joining us, teaming up with us. Let's partner together. Let's make Lagos. Let's reimagine Lagos. Let's rebuild it. Let's transform Lagos to a Lagos of our dreams.
Thank you very much for coming on the program today. We appreciate your coming and sharing your knowledge with us. All right, and that is a wrap on Issues in the News today. My name is Esther Nwachukwu. To have yourselves an amazing day.